Imagine doubting this team. Imagine seeing this team down by more than one goal and still not believing in this side. I mean, you have to be an idiot or you have to be me. At halftime, Barcelona were down 2-0 to Levante. And I honestly thought, looking at that game, they are going to struggle coming back into this. Not because I don't believe they've done it before. They've clearly shown over the last 12 months under Hansi Flick, this is a side that continuously go down behind and continuously come back. But the way this game was going in that first 45, chat, it felt different. Honestly, the amount of times Levante were just splitting through the side, creating 3v1s at will. And then on the other end, Barcelona really failing to create as many chances as they usually do. Yamal taking a lot of shots that got deflected, Rashford putting balls into the box to nobody, Ferran having the biggest chance of the first half, and then 2 instances where Levante punished them. And it both came from Yamal turnovers. So I'm watching that first 45 minutes and I'm thinking to myself, Barcelona's voodoo from last season, their black magic, it might have worn off, man. This might be the end. And that's why I'm an idiot and that's why Hansi Flick's a genius. Because that second half was vintage Barca. Within 4 minutes, Pedri putting his team back into the game with an exceptional strike from distance. Curving from in to out. I love those shots so much, bro. Honestly, my favorite finish is a near post top corner that curves out like that. I love that finish so much, man. Company against Leicester. Oh, what a finish, man. Pedri, brilliant. That makes it 2-1 within 4 minutes. I'm thinking, maybe I spoke too soon. And then the second comes 2 minutes later. Ferran Torres, who missed a guilt-tripped chance in the first half, threw on goal set up by Pedri, hitting the bar from 10 yards out, but makes no mistake from a corner in swinger, and Ferran on the half volley, first time past the Levante goalkeeper to make it 2-2. At this point, there's still about 40 minutes plus injury time left in the game. And you're thinking to yourself, okay, surely now they're going to grab a third, like Barca do. But Levante made things difficult for them. I want to give a huge shout out today to Manuel Sanchez, the left back on Levante, who I thought did an exceptional job defending Lamine Yamal. You guys know where I stand with Yamal. I think he's the best player in the world. I think he's by far the best talent in the world. But I actually think he's the best player in the world. Today's one of the rare instances where you see everything Yamal tries to do was practically nullified. People will say, he had a few dribbles past Sanchez. If you watch the game, you would have seen it's almost him running into Sanchez. Sanchez tackles him, and the ball kind of goes through him, and Yamal ends up with it. So, yeah, he beat him, but he wasn't finding much success against Sanchez whatsoever. And then on the other end as well, too, Manuel Sanchez was bombing forward, putting balls into the box. I actually think he might have been my man of the match. And when he came off, I didn't really understand why. 15 minutes left on the clock, and your best player is coming off. I couldn't understand it. But Levante continued pushing. Barca continued knocking on the door. Lewandowski, I thought, should have had a penalty in the second half. But ultimately, when you keep knocking on that door, sometimes the door comes down. And Yamal, who I thought had one of his worst games for a while. Look, man, when you put that many dangerous crosses into the box, eventually something is going to work out your way. And even Yamal at his best has such a delicate delivery off his left in swinging or Trivela. It's so difficult to defend. It's so difficult to read. It's so difficult to kind of position yourself for. And ultimately, it causes the own goal from the Levante defender to give Barcelona a late third goal, a late winner to give them all 3 points. And it's a massive 3 points because early in the day, Atletico drop points again. We know Real Madrid have to play tomorrow. Barca can't afford to be dropping points this early on in the season. We know how La Liga works, right? And at one point, it looked like it was going to get out of their hands. But fairs, man. Barcelona, you talk about mentality monsters. You talk about a side that never knows when they're beat. It's these guys. But let's talk about this game, right? Because the biggest thing is the 3 points. Congratulations to them. But there were a lot of worrying moments for me in this game. And I think I made a video on Inigo Martinez's departure. And some people honestly commented and said, Lyes, I don't understand why you made this video. It's not that deep. Like, you making a whole video on Inigo Martinez is overdoing it. Personally, I think if you said that, you just don't know how good Inigo Martinez was for Barca last season. I love Kubarsi. I actually think Inigo Martinez was Barcelona's best performing center back last year. On top of that, Inigo Martinez was marshalling that back line, and he was the captain of the high line. We know how Hansi Flick deploys this team. Barcelona at times are playing on the halfway line. That's how they're building up. They leave an ocean of space in behind because they are so good at timing when to step forward and leave the opposition offside. And they kept the Levante offside a few times today. But also, Levante found a lot of success against them. And it's one thing, Mbappe makes runs against you. Or Thuram and Dumfries make... Levante finding this much success is a worry. And I think a huge part of that is Araujo now being the defender next to Kubarsi and not Inigo. Inigo is so intelligent at stepping forward when he needs to, and also directing the group to step forward as a unit, because it doesn't matter if 3 guys step forward. If 1 guy stays back, that's it. Onside. Inigo was so good last season at that. And I think losing him for free is such a massive blow to this team. And replacing with Araujo, who, for all intents and purposes, has his own strengths. I'm not saying he's a scrub, but I'm sorry. Stepping out and keeping players onside or offside is not one of them. I don't think so. And I think Barca looked really, really vulnerable. On top of that, I thought their press was not as good as it was last season. I think that's something that Flick will probably be furious at his team for. Because last season, the press was a huge thing. They suffocate teams in their own half. In their own box sometimes. Today, it was not as surefire as it was last season. That's something Flick will look at and be very frustrated with. I look at Marc Casado in the first half, and I like Marc Casado. I don't think they should sell him, but it's not a wonder for me why he struggles to get minutes in this team. That wasn't a great performance. And Gavi coming on in the second half, I think gave Barca a little bit more urgency. And to be honest with you, I think even his passing was a lot more crisp than Casado. I thought Gavi really changed the game in the second half. Really changed it. Gavi, for me, is emerging as one of the most underappreciated players in the game. I think Gavi created this like hate train against him in the early parts of his career, right? Because he was aggressive, he was nipping at ankles, he was winning awards that people didn't think he deserved. But now it's kind of swung the other way, the pendulum, in that people don't really give Gavi, in my opinion, the flowers he deserves. This guy's a top midfielder, man. He's an enforcer, but he's very good technically as well, too. He is the Gattuso to this team. Maybe even the Bernardo Silva of this team. Everybody needs a guy that's just going to sacrifice for the side. That's Gavi. But on the ball as well, too. I think he's a top player, man. Real big fan of Gavi and what kind of player he's becoming. But the real star for me was the guy next to him, Pedri. I mean, I read a statistic at the end of the game, guys, right? Pedri stats versus Levante. The stat I'm interested in, 118 passes by Pedri Gonzalez today. Ladies and gentlemen, that's more than Levante had combined. This guy's a pass master. And he's so good. I mean, he had this one pass to Ferran for like a one-on-one opportunity that only Pedri can see. His vision is so sneakily underrated for me. I feel like everybody knows Pedri as the metronome, as the pass master, but his vision and his execution of his final pass is so slept on. I mean, there was a compilation last year of all the failed Pedri passes, right? Like every pass that Pedri plays for his teammates to score that they fail to capitalize on. This guy should have finished on 20, 30 assists, man. Seriously, he finds runners for fun. He sees passes that nobody even else dares to even vision, let alone play. He's on a different level. And then the goal on top of that, really taking responsibility with that strike from distance. It was reminiscent for me of Jude Bellingham against Barcelona a few years back in the Clásico. Such an incredible strike. And look, I think Pedri's a top player. He wins man of the match. And I think in terms of the outfielders, he was Barca's best player. But I think Barca's man of the match period is probably Joan Garcia. Now, coming in as a goalkeeper to play in this system is not easy. Because it's not like a goalkeeper for any other team. For any other team, you're judged on how you stop shots. You're judged on how you claim crosses. You're judged on how you play out from the back. But for Barcelona, you could be amazing at all of that and still not be good enough for Barca. Because to play goalkeeper for Barca under Hansi Flick, you have to be alert 24/7. And this guy is the ultimate sweeper keeper. How many times did a dangerous ball over the top loop into the path of a Levante striker who, if a different goalkeeper is there, the Levante striker probably goes one-on-one. Romero was his name. How many times did that happen? Countless. But Joan Garcia is good enough and alert enough and quick enough off his line to consistently sniff out danger and clear it before it becomes a problem. And then his shot stopping on top of that today, I thought was very, very good. Now, people will look at the penalty. Did he dive a little too late? Maybe. But I think his performance overall today, if that's a different goalkeeper, Ter Stegen, Barca lose that game. So Joan Garcia, for me, is the overwhelming man of the match. Because I think in that first half, where so many Barca players were poor, I think Joan Garcia was one of the standout performers for them, even in that. But I think honestly, the amount of times Levante split through Barca, especially in that first half, has to be a concern. If I'm a Barca fan, right, I don't watch this team every single week. And also, I don't watch them as invested as Barca fans do. But if I was a Barca fan, I would be getting heart attacks watching this team. Because every game, I feel like the opposition goes through on goal 6 times a game. Now, sometimes they get called offside, but if you're a fan, you don't know that in the moment. You guys must be going through a roller coaster of emotions, man. Seriously. Let's talk about the refereeing decisions as well, too. I thought the referee today was exceptionally poor. Exceptionally poor. First half, I have to be honest with you. I don't think that's a penalty on Barca. I don't think Balde stretches out his arm to make it, you know what I mean? I think penalties for handball should be given in certain situations. If your hand is in an unnatural position, I hear it. If you're directly stopping a goal-scoring opportunity, I hear it. Balde turns like this with his hands in this position. They're close to his body, and I can't lie. When you're like, that's a natural reaction. He's not stretching his arm out like this. He's going like this. I don't think he stops a goal there or a goal scoring opportunity. So for them to give a penalty to Levante for that, I thought was harsh. And by the way, Balde, I thought it was really, really good today. I thought Balde was so good. So quick, so dynamic up and down the pitch, defended really, really well in his individual duels, linked up well with Rashford on occasion. And at the moment, I didn't really understand why Hansi Flick took him off, but ultimately it worked out. I thought Balde was really good today. But I thought he was very unfortunate because I don't think that should have been a penalty. And then in the second half, Lewandowski gets brought down in the penalty box. Now, some people will say he causes the initial foul on the defender. I think that's more of a coming together, to be honest with you. I don't think that should be a foul. And I think, if anything, the second defender brings down Lewandowski. So, to be honest with you, I didn't think the referee was great today. I think he was particularly harsh on Barcelona, personally. Which leaves us with one more player to talk about. Rashford. Now, this was Rashford's first start for Barca, and it was a huge opportunity. Rafinha played down the middle, Rashford on the left, Ferran up front, Yamal on the right. On paper, a very good front four. And Rashford, I think, had moments today where he looked really, really bright. I mean, he was nutmegging his defender, he was getting past them. But I think Rashford's at his best when he's on the left, cutting in. Today, he was doing a lot of going down the touchline and then trying to cross it in. The problem is Barca were crossing it into Ferran Torres. I'm sorry, Ferran Torres against Levante's deep block of 5, that's difficult. That's very difficult. So I don't think Rashford had his best game today. I don't think he was bad per se. I think you could probably make the argument he was a little unlucky to be the one hooked at halftime. But ultimately, I think the change made Barcelona better. One thing I'm pretty confident of, Rafinha is a better left winger than he is a number 10. I didn't think he played bad as a 10. I think he had a few nice little flicks to Ferran. I think he combined well, played decent in the hole. But I think he's a much better player off the left than he is down the middle. The problem is, that's Rashford's position. So, look, there's going to be a lot of rotation this year. Ferran's going to share minutes up front. I wouldn't be surprised to see Rashford play up front as well, too, during games. Rafinha can play on the left and centrally. Maybe Rashford might even play up front with Ferran. Who knows? But I think in the biggest games, I think Rafinha's position is on the left. That I'm pretty confident of. Where does that leave Rashford for the rest of the season? That's a whole other conversation altogether. But that's what makes Hansi Flick a great coach, and that's why he's paid the big bucks. He'll have to decide that. But it's really Barca continuing where they left off from last season. Susceptible defensively, always playing that Russian roulette game of defense. It's always going to cause risk, but it's always going to have reward. And at the end of the day, they win more games than they lose. But the big question mark this season will come in the big games. Can they get over the line? They were huge against Real Madrid in the Clásicos, flawless in those performances. But in the Champions League, that Inter tie, that back line was exposed. Will Hansi Flick show a little more tactical maturity in those kinds of games and get Barca over the line? Or is it going to be more of the same from last season? On the basis of today, I think we're getting more of the same from last season, which for a neutral is extremely entertaining. But for a Barca fan, like I said, wow, I cannot believe you guys don't have more heart attacks than you do. If I was a supporter of this team, I would be sweating 24/7. But I really enjoyed that game, man. La Liga is back. I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving the way Barca are playing. For neutral, they are an absolute dream to watch because it's just attack, 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 attack. No regard for defending whatsoever. And let me know who you guys think is going to win La Liga this season. Real Madrid obviously played one game. They play again tomorrow. Can Xabi Alonso coach this team and get them organized enough to go toe-to-toe with Barcelona yet again? And can he make the difference and get them over the line? Like, share, subscribe, guys. We're nearly at 80,000 subscribers. Shout out to every single person who watched on stream today. We streamed this one on YouTube. It was a sick one. We had around 1,000 viewers in there. So if you're around for the next stream, it's going to be tomorrow, Man United versus Fulham at 4:30. Make sure you're in the stream for that one. We'll be watching live on YouTube and on Twitch. I hope to see you guys there. And I'll see you guys very, very soon. Peace.